What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to the start of a new Football Manager adventure. Yes, this is the Bottom at Christmas Challenge live. Much like Leon Live, we're going to be playing through this 100% live. There's going to be no cuts between time. Expect longer, more in-depth episodes, the stuff that you guys have been enjoying as of late over the Easter period. Anyway, the challenge is simple. Bottom team of the Premier Division is going to be the team that we manage here, and we're going to try and save them from the drop. Now, I've holidayed forward and retired the manager that I had to holiday forward to Christmas time. I haven't actually checked the league to see who we're going to be managing yet. Now, obviously, for you, the title gives it away, as will the thumbnail of the video. But, well, I want to know who I'm managing to start this challenge, so let's find out. We'll click on it, English Premier Division, Burnley, 6 points away from safety. Not a bad goal difference. I know that's a weird kind of positive to cling on to. Let's just have a look quickly at their forms. They are bottom of the league, as we already knew. They've lost their last two games away against West Ham and Huddersfield. Prior to that, they won some games. Oh, they won in the Europa League. Where did they finish in their group? Ooh, second. So we are going to be bottom at Christmas trying to save Burnley from relegation, but also battling it out in the Europa League. Right, that's interesting. Let's add our manager here just to start things off. I mean, it's usually a good place to start by adding the manager when you're taking over a team for a series. But yeah, the Bottom at Christmas Challenge is one that I've seen, people suggest to me in the past. It's a fun one, it's something that's quite enjoyable. It's something that I've not done before, but unlike Leon Live, where we kind of inherited a club with a really young, youthful side, today we are going to be trying to save a team that, frankly, are going to be in a little bit of a pickle. And that's going to kind of change how I approach things here, because unlike a lot of Let's Plays, where you can kind of directly plan for the season ahead, we are very much inheriting a problem that is already underway, which is going to make things challenging. So, we actually have a game tomorrow. Now, we probably won't get into that today, just because there's going to be a lot of stuff to analyse and work out what we want to do here. But I feel like the first thing that we should probably do is not sort out our team, is actually look at our team's kind of report. So, we have the worst shooting accuracy in the league. We have terrible away form. It looks like they've been playing a 4-4-2, which hasn't worked very well. Poor crosses, poor dribbling. I mean, it's not a great sign, is it? Apparently, better defensive depth could be useful at centre-back. Better depth would be useful in centre-mid. I'm wondering, Burnley play a 4-4-2 in real life, and they kind of, I imagine, I've not actually managed Burnley before, so I don't know, but I assume that they have, a team ready-made to play 4-4-2, and we do have the 4-4-2 that we've been using at Arsenal in the network game. I wonder if there's maybe a version of that system that we can maybe look to use here. Anyway, I'm going to be honest, it's not looking good. What positives do we have? We have a good level of positioning. Now, Burnley play very well defensively. This year, they've struggled a little bit in the league, but you might remember last year in the Premier League, they did quite well. A good team in the air, so set piezes may be something we can do well with. Chris Wood is the top goal scorer in the league. I mean, how does that work out? He's got 10 goals in the Premier League, 10 in the Europa League. I mean, I want to check this now. What's happening in the Premier League? So, Salah and Chris Wood are top two goal scorers. Is no one else in our team scoring? The answer is no. Ashley Barnes has been scoring. He's got 4 in 8. I mean, that's not a great... He's got a 6.58 average rating. Oh boy, this is... I didn't know who I was going to get, and I don't mean any disrespect by this, but I was kind of hoping I wouldn't get Huddersfield or Cardiff. Those are the two teams I was desperate to avoid. Huddersfield are doing fine, actually, in the league. I'm surprised we've got Burnley. I mean, we're going to have the Europa League to juggle as well. Things are going to be interesting here. I'll tell you what. Let's just look to set up a tactic from the start here. I'm going to actually choose, create your own style here. Oh, we can actually load a system. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's load the Arsenal system. Now, realistically, inverted wingers probably aren't going to be a thing here. But what I noticed with Barnes and Wood is they're quite good in the air. Now, we're not... Obviously, this is the system that we're using as a base that I used at Arsenal. And it was a very good Arsenal side. So we are going to need to dumb things down and make them perhaps a little bit simpler. So, for example, being more expressive, probably not the best option. Shorter passing, we can probably give that a go. Passing to space, I don't mind. We have good positioning, which makes me feel like we should probably, instead of pressing... which is more to do with decision making, as well as positioning, obviously. We should just look to sit deep and see what we can do. That's what I'm thinking, at least. Sit deep, don't press too much, although we can do a little bit. Let's try and be compact. I mean, let's pick a team for a 4-4-2 here. So, in goal, Heaton has the best star ratings. How does he compare to Pope? Never trust the star ratings, they're often a lie. See, I actually prefer Pope here, just because I prefer good shot stopping and aerial ability over stuff like communication and distribution. So Pope, you're going to be our goalkeeper, I think. Unless Joe Hart's incredible. I mean, that is the other option. I mean, Joe Hart is very good, isn't he? Very good. To the point where actually he might be the player worth playing. Who have they been playing in goal? They've not played Pope much. They have played Hart a little bit, and when he played, he got a 7.14. Another thing that I've got to consider here, actually, as I pick my team, is I probably should be looking at who's been playing this year and how well they've been playing. Like, that is going to be worth considering. So at centre-backs, Tarkowski I actually really, really like as a player. He is rated as their best centre-back. We've then got a few other options. Jimmy Dunn, you're out on loan at Sunderland, so you can get in the under-23s, and at Naki Wells as well. Again, another player who I don't need to be able to see right now. So, centre-backs, Tarkowski, and then alongside him, we've got Ben Mee here, who I like. Gibson was the other option. We got told we had a lack of players at centre-back. Well, it looks like we've got 4 okay centre-backs. Of the 4 that we've got, I like Ben Gibson, but I think Ben Mee probably is a tiny bit better, and he's also left-footed, so it's kind of, you know, that nice left foot, right foot partnership at the back. In terms of right back, I mean, who do we have? Matt Lowton looks head and shoulders above the rest. He's played 26 games this year. His average rating is actually one of the better ones. At left back, Charlie Taylor's only played 11 games, which is a surprisingly low amount. Their starting player has been Stephen Ward. I'm going to compare them. See, mentals and aerials are good, but actually I kind of like a pacier fullback. Charlie Taylor is more my kind of left back, so we'll go with him there for now. I will say, obviously, here, I am kind of picking this team quite quickly. Much like Leon Live, there is going to be a little bit of kind of not rushing through things, but I'm going to want to keep things moving and kind of moving quickly. Up front, we are going to have Chris Wood and Barnes. I assume they're our best 2 strikers. The other option we have is Vidra. Vidra really isn't Premier League quality, is he? I mean, to be fair, is Barnes Premier League quality? I think if we play him as a pressing forward, he's actually a really good pressing forward. So, yeah, he is Premier League quality. Vidra, on the other hand, I'm not so sold on. There's a distinct lack of yellow. I mean, he's a great penalty taker. Not convinced he offers us a great deal else. Right, we should focus on the rest of our midfield. We've got here Johan Berg Gudmundsson. I hope I've said that right. Now, he's actually an inverted winger. So maybe we could use him in the Arsenal system. I mean, hold the phone for just a second. Let's put him on the right for now. We've got quite a lot of overlap, it looks like, in terms of player positions and squad depth. So we'll look at things here. So Brady is apparently our best left midfielder. He's quite a defensive winger. Although we could just play him as an actual winger, and he's pretty competent at that. He's not super good, though, is he? We don't have a great left winger, is what I'm learning here. I think Brady probably is the best. The other option would be to play Gudmundsson, I guess, as the winger on that side. But Brady's good. Brady's okay. Let's put Brady out on the left. Then at centre mid, Jack Cork is great, but he's injured. How long are you out for? Please don't be... he got injured 2 days ago for 5 to 7 months. So without one of their best players, it looks like. I mean, he looks pretty good, to be fair, that they've been with in their bottom of the league, and now he's out for the rest of the season. I mean, go to the under-23s. Centre mids, we don't have many. The staff were right when they said that was an area of concern. We've got Ashley Westwood and Stephen Dufour. I mean, I'm starting to see where the problem might lie. Ashley Westwood, to be fair, looks pretty good defensively, so we'll put him in. And now we're going to play a bit of Jenga in terms of we're going to try and get the best out of our best players and see what roles kind of work together. I will say now there is a distinct lack of kind of a standout player to build around. The obvious one would be Chris Wood, because he's been the really kind of high goal scorer. Let's think about this. We can have Barnes as a pressing forward, which, as I said, he's very well suited to. Alongside him, then, we've got Wood, who he can maybe play as a target man. Maybe as a target man on attack. Go with kind of that old school little than large strike partnership. I could play with him on support, but given the fact he's the top goal scorer, maybe he should play an attack. Also, I've never played a target man and a pressing forward before. I feel like with Football Manager, you quite often fall into a comfort zone. You get roles that you're comfortable with that you want to play. One thing I'm quite keen to do here is, explore. Maybe leave that comfort zone that I'm speaking of. And that's why, actually, I'm thinking Gudmundsson here we could play as an inside forward. An inverted winger on support. Then maybe if we swap Wood and Barnes around here. So Wood will drop a bit deeper. Gudmundsson can push onwards. How good is Loughton going forward? He's actually our best fullback by quite a big margin. If we just compare him to Charlie Taylor, I think he's a lot better going forward than Taylor is. Yeah, you can see here, just all-round a better player. So with Loughton, wing back on support maybe to overlap on the inverted winger. That could work. What I'm trying to do here right now is I'm trying to work out how players might fit together. I feel like with tactics, you've got to get partnerships that work in different areas. So strike partnerships, centre mids can be quite important ones. Your wing backs and player who's playing ahead of them, again, quite an important partnership. Centre backs, but debatably a little less so, I guess. Looking at Taylor here, apparently he'd be a pretty good fullback on attack as well. Apparently. Allegedly. Let's have a look. Fullback on... I mean, he would be. You can put in a good ball. 15 crossing is probably worth making the most of. Particularly with how good Barnes and Wood are actually in the air. You can see 15 jumping reach. 15 strength. Man, we should have a team that bosses set pieces. Like, any balls into the air we should be great at. We could try Brady as a defensive midfielder defensive winger on support. Because he is quite good defensively. And if we are playing, a deeper system, that could work quite nicely. I've still got to think about Hendrick and Westwood. Jeff Hendrick is blooming good, isn't he? Wow. I mean, you're a box-to-box midfielder. What about Westwood? Defensive. Centre mid on... we already have them in the roles, just the wrong way. There we go. Look at the green that we're getting. Now, I will say now, don't put too much faith in the circles here. I feel like this is one of the few times where actually I'm starting to agree with the circles. Very often when you see these, they're not always accurate, and you don't always just want to aim to get them all green. You want to try and get them in a way that works. I've never really used a defensive winger in a four-man midfield. I've used it sometimes in like a 3-5-2, where you have five midfielders in a line, and then you don't have wing-backs, you're playing 3 centre-backs. But actually, if he's holding up the play a little bit, which you can see here, he'll hold it up for the rest of the team to drive by, or look to get a quick cross in and through balls to the forward. That could actually suit Brady really nicely, because he's got 14 crossing, got decent stamina and acceleration, and with a fullback on attack running beyond him and a box-to-box midfielder alongside him, there's going to be a lot of movement around him to make things work. I mean, I'm liking this at the moment. I'm just wondering if we should play Gudmundsson on attack. He likes to run down with the ball down the left. Apparently that's a conflict, but he's playing on the right-hand side, so that shouldn't be a problem, having that player trait, so that's okay. It's always worth just checking the player traits, because sometimes they do kind of, counteract what you want a player to do. I think that this could work. I think that this is art. Some of you are looking at this and wincing and thinking this is never going to work. I think it can. Maybe I'm an idiot. In terms of crosses, I think we should float crosses here. We're going to have some tall players, in Barnes and Wood in the box. So floating crosses is probably the better option. At least right now we're playing without a playmaker. I want to check actually here. Attributes. I guess it's technical. Do we have like a great playmaker-y player? I mean, we've got Tarkovsky, who's got good passing, not the best when it comes to vision. Ashley Westwood. I mean, you've got 15 passing and 14 vision. You could be a deep line playmaker on defend. In fact, you'd be a very good deep line playmaker on defending, given that you have a complete inability to, well, I was going to say complete inability to tackle. He's got 12 tackling. It's okay. It's not Premier League quality, but it's okay. Maybe having him as a deep line playmaker could work. You know, we could have him come deeper to get the ball. Part of me's like, oh, we could play out from the back. We've got Tarkowski. Me's only got 10 passing, though. Tarkowski, ball playing defender. I'm okay with him doing that. And that could work quite nicely with Westwood. You know, Westwood will drop a little bit deeper to get the ball off Tarkowski. We've got two players here who are going to be able to ping the ball. Me, on the other hand, we could have him as a no-nonsense, but I don't really want us to play too hoofball-y. Just thinking in terms of, you know, out of possession, I'm kind of happy to drop deeper. How fast is our defence, actually? So, Taylor's fast. Me. 13 acceleration, 12 pace. We're not going to keep up with the fastest attackers in the Premier League. And it's a similar story with Tarkowski. Neither are slow, but they're not great in terms of pace. So, actually, maybe just having a middling line's okay. We don't need to drop as deep. But we could drop just deeper. You know, invite pressure on, it will create a space for us to then move into on the break. I don't hate this right now. Just in terms of in transition, this is kind of set to how it was before. If we do go with Joe Hart in goal, which I am actually favouring to start things off, just because when he has played, he looks like he's played okay. But if we are going to go with Joe Hart, let's not have him on sweeper keeper. Let's not have him do what Jens Lehmann does for me on my Arsenal network game. That's not going to work. His kicking of 11's okay. 13 throwing. So throwing might be the better way for him to go. Just thinking in terms of distribution where we want him to go. We're going to want to counter and we're going to want to distribute the ball quickly. Let's look for the flanks fairly often. I think that's going to be the best bet. You know, Brady can hold up the play. Gudmundsson here is going to get the ball and drift inside with it. One thing that's just dawned on me is the fact that we're going to have the January transfer window coming up. Is that, like, what would we sign? Maybe a new set, a really, really good playmaker? We need centre mids. It seems to be the big issue right now. We have 3 centre mids and we're a Premier League side. What is this? Let's just have a quick look at our, at our under 23s here. There literally isn't a centre mid. We have Aidan O'Neill. Not good enough. I mean that in the nicest possible way. Jack Cork being out for the rest of the season is going to be a problem. I mean, we have some youth prospects here, but I mean they're not going to come to the rescue this season. We're bottom of the league. Wait, how much money do we have? We have £22 million and some wage budget. Who are our scouts recommending? Ben Woodburn, Ezekiel Barco, Moreno and Origi. Woodburn can play centre mid, to be fair, but he doesn't really play a centre mid role that suits our team and the system that I'm thinking we'll play right now. I don't really want to sign anyone too soon, at least not this episode. This episode's very much about building a base for us going forward and, you know, explaining some of my rationale in hopefully a way that is going to, you know, help you guys when you come to play Football Manager yourself. In terms of on the bench, Phil Bardsley can play left and right back, which I value in a player on the bench, but he's a bit rubbish, isn't he? Stephen Ward on the bench. Although we have me who can also play left back, so actually it's probably better just to have a backup right back on the bench. Who is our second best right back? It's me, then it's Gibson, then it's Long. But Long's more of a centre back as well. Oh, God, we don't have a backup right back. We just don't. You cannot tell me that Ben Mee... Oh, wait, we were looking at centre-backs. That's just my bad. Let's look at it here. Squad depth, right-backs. Bardsley. I mean, he's good, but he's not good enough for the Premier League. So, on my shopping list right now, a right-back, maybe someone who can play right and left-back would be ideal, but at the very least, a right-back. A centre mid. I mean, we have Peter Blooming Crouch. We should be just insane from set pieces. I'll be honest, Peter Crouch, good target man, I think. Probably not going to be that great at a lot else, but I don't think we have any other options unless we have Vidra. See, Vidra can play a few attacking midfielder positions, but I don't think we're going to play with those positions because, in truth, we don't have that many players who can play attacking midfield areas. Aaron Lennon here could be an interesting one. He can play right mid, and he can kind of play left mid. Why are you being trained to play centre mid at the moment? Who set you on that? I mean, I love Sean Dyche, but I'm not sure about what he's been up to here. I mean, let's just check. Have they done any transfer dealings? No. None besides the ones they made in real life. So, is this really the squad that they have? I mean that in the nicest possible way. No disrespect to Burnley fans, but, like, there's some big gaps that I want to fill here. We literally don't have a centre mid for the bench other than Defor, who I guess we'll just have to play. I feel like we need another striker. I mean, we have Jonathan Walters. And he's really not that great. I mean, that's my analysis. He's really not that great. I know that's a great insight. But actually, he might be the best player who we can have in the first team who actually fits a position. Man, we are going to need to spend in January. We're 6 points from safety. Who have we got? We've got Sociedad in the Europa League. They're in 5th in La Liga. They're doing pretty well. They're only 1 point behind Madrid. I mean, that's concerning. Right. I think we have a rough grasp of our first team here. We need a striker. We probably need a centre mid. We need a right back backup. We need a few midfielders, I'm going to be honest. Lennon's okay as a backup winger. But in terms of other wide options who can play right and left mid, we have Jonathan Walters. It's a situation here, isn't it? Right, so we've done that. I mean, do I want a plan B tactic? Tell you what we'll do. We'll save this as 4-4-2. Oh, I've got my Xbox controller plugged in, so you guys can't see here. But the Steam Big Picture overlay's coming. There we go, Burnley. Right, we're not going to publish this tactic to the workshop because it might go horribly wrong. In terms of alternate tactics, I feel like I don't have a good 4-4-2. Most of my tactics are 4-2-3-1s that I've had success with this year. This is kind of one of the fun things about this challenge, is it is actually going to push me out of my comfort zone. Right, we're going to build a tactic here that's kind of based off the other one, but it's for when we're chasing a game and we're desperately in need of a goal. Right, you know, it's the game where you're throwing men forward and it's kind of a case of just hit early crosses in. This is kind of our... We're panicking, we need a goal... Someone please help us, you know, essentially. So this is going to be attacking. In terms of in transition, it's going to be counter, and then when possession's been lost, we're going to have to counter press. Quick distribution I'm all happy with. Out of possession, we are going to press high and be compact and use an offside trap. This is for when we're getting a bit desperate, you know, and we need that goal. For this tactic here... I think we're going to play on cautious rather than positive. You know, this is, you can see what it says here. I don't know why I'm about to read it to you, but essentially we're going to get men behind the ball. We're not always going to control the ball. We don't have a great playmaker. We're going to have a good defensive shape and look to break. We've got some pretty good players who I think are going to be good on the break. We don't have a load of pace, at least in the midfield. That is, like, we don't have a speedster. We have players with okay pace, but we don't have... I'm trying to think of a generic fast player. Aaron Lennon before he got slow, basically. It's not a great analogy, but I think you know what I'm saying here. Okay, let's go through this. So we've been hired as manager. We have our... Here is our defensive system. Here's our more attacking variant of the same system. I should probably have a park the bus tactic, which is... Oh my gosh, we might win a game. That's just shut up shop now. And I'm actually thinking we might even play a lot at the back. Technical terminology here, a lot at the back. So this, as I said, this is kind of the holy crap, we might win a game here system. Where I think we'll have the wing-backs on support. And it's going to be a case of, do we want to counter? Probably not. We probably just want to drop deep. Distribute quickly to the flanks is okay. And actually, I feel like we can actually look for the overlap with this system. Go more direct, hit early crosses, float it. And time wasting frequent. This is the... We do not know what we're doing. We might get a win. Let's try and get it. We're going to... I don't want to sit too deep, but I feel like we have to here. And we're just going to stay on feet. You know, this is the... I hope we never have to use this, but I feel like there will come a time when this is entirely necessary. And when that day comes, we'll be prepared for it. So, yeah, we're going to have that. But for the most part, I think the 4-4-2 is what we want to be doing. You know, this kind of 4-4-2, I think this works. I think this makes sense. You kind of look at the partnerships. Deep line playmaker, he's going to hold his position. He's going to have a lot of players moving on ahead of him westward to pick out passes to. Part of me secretly hopes that Westwood isn't the player we'll be forever relying on in this position. Although, to be fair, I'm kind of talking a lot of crap about him. As a deep line playmaker on defend, he's actually really, really good. Like, lots of 14s and 15s. His balance and tackling could be a little better. But he's good enough, I think, for a team that should be staying up in the Premier League. And that's what we're striving for here at Burnley. Good enough. Anyway, finally, let's get on to the meetings here. Thank you, Mike Garlic. I wonder if he likes garlic. Maybe he's a vampire. Maybe it's, you know, all a ruse. I've said that I want to meet the journalists. That's a lie. That is a lie. I don't want to meet the journalists. Frankly, I don't like doing press conferences in Football Manager. You guys know this. We've set up all our tactics, so that doesn't matter. Training, we might cover down the line. With us only being here for initially at least 6 months, it's not the biggest concern of mine. But, I mean, let's attend this press conference. I'm very excited. We might get different questions here because it's halfway through a season. I don't think age is important. You know, they're going to have to respect me. Apparently, I'm an attacking-minded coach. I'm going to say I'm not going to say Sean Dyche, one of the greats. So yeah, I guess I should use this as an opportunity to talk about the save. With this, I can't remember if I mentioned it at the start, but basically I'm going to be away over the Easter period, so I want a series that I can record and upload whilst I'm away. This is that series. And it might turn into something longer term. If you guys, are lukewarm to it, Leon will be still the entire focus. But it's going to be nice to get into a Premier League save. We've not done a Premier League save here in Football Manager this year on the channel, which is pretty unusual. Usually, I start with one of these kind of saves. Not usually a team struggling, like this situation we're in here. But this is a league that I'm familiar with. It's the league I manage within the most in Football Manager. The league kind of that I've always struggled in is Serie A. I would like to tackle that at some point soon. Who knows? Maybe that will be where we go on the next adventure. But here, the focus is on Burnley, and the focus is saving them. In terms of how many episodes this series is going to be, we'll see how many it takes to get to the end of the season. If you're not familiar with Leon Live, and I recommend you go watch that series if you enjoyed this video and you've got till this point, essentially it's going to be a little off the rails. It's completely unscripted. I'm just playing through the game live, talking about my thought process, trying to explain a little bit of it to you. Kind of gives you a lot of the nitty-gritty bits that often get cut out of YouTube series on Football Manager. And it also, hopefully, allows you to pick up a thing or two. Everyone has their own way of approaching Football Manager, much like managing football in real life. There isn't a right or wrong way to do things. Really, with these videos, it's just a chance for you guys to see perhaps a different approach to the one that you use. Stephen Ward, his contract's up at the end of the year. I'm going to trigger the extension in it, because he is a pretty good backup left back, even if he is as old as he is. Jonathan Walters, not going to be triggering yours. I'm very sorry. We should probably set up our scouting assignments for the problem positions that I've mentioned, shouldn't we? Let's do that. So we need a first team player. I want them to be a centre mid. in terms of scope, look anywhere in Europe. We're looking for a European centre mid. And the duration is going to be ongoing. I'd like you to find me one pretty quick. In terms of budget, £10 million to find me a good centre mid. Preferably a little bit less, but if it has to cost more, so be it. We're going to also need a backup right back. Budget for a backup right back. I think there's value in the market at right back, so we'll set it to be £4 million. And again, we're looking within Europe, please. I didn't set that to ongoing, did I? Can I edit it easily? I can. Right, ongoing. Although this is urgent, I need you to find me these players quickly because we do not have long left to this year. I would kind of like a first team player, striker as well. But again, we don't have a great deal of money to spend. We'll look at who's transfer listed maybe next episode. In terms of role, it would probably be advised to get someone who's an advanced forward. The advanced forward role is kind of covers quite, yeah, it's a bit of a middle ground between the target man and the pressing forward, which is probably what we're going to be looking for, you know, an alternate to Wood and Barnes in the final third. And if this tactic doesn't work, I might even revert to an advanced forward. It's a role that I do like within Football Manager. Right, so that is a centre mid, a right back and a striker. Those are the main areas of concern. We do also need potentially a player who can play on the left and or right. And then again, budget for this. I mean, we don't have a great budget. I'm hoping that it won't come to us, you know, needing to spend a lot of this. If we need to bring in loan players to solve the problem, so be it. Hey folks, Future Jack here, and I just want to mention something that I have realised upon finishing episode 1, and that is going to be, I guess, relevant with the save game. That is the fact that with this, I am using one custom database. It's made by the Brazil research team for Football Manager. It's an unofficial database, but it adds in players from the Japanese Football League. If you don't know, Konami have a license agreement with Football Manager, which means that Japanese league players don't appear in FM. So with this save game, I have got that mod active. So players like David Villa, Podolski, Iniesta, they do exist. Whether or not we'll encounter them, we may try and sign one of them down the line. But I want to make you guys aware that is a thing. And there is a link down below if you want to check it out for yourself. It's just a cool little thing. Some high-profile players missing from the Football Manager database completely. And this file, you know, adds those players back in. Anyway, Future Jack, whatever I was talking about, please take it away. This is going to be challenging though. As I said, it could have been worse, it could have been more difficult, but given the fact that we're 6 points away from safety, I think that is a manageable gap. You know, there was a reality that we could end up with a Derby County of whatever year it was where they got like 11 points all season. We have 12 points. We've only won 3 in 18, and those wins have come against the 3 teams above us. So we're just not beating anyone outside the relegation zone, basically. But I feel like things can be turned around here. It's not going to be mission impossible. Our first game at home against Newcastle, who are in 15th. How are they looking? Ben Dawson's their manager. Is he a caretaker manager? Okay, so they've just sacked their manager. I'm the new man in. This is going to be good. I'm looking forward to this. I mean, look at the team. 50 million in the bank. Decent budget. Tell you what we're going to set this to. We're going to set this to league history. Look at that. We're a team on the up. I don't need to know about the finances. We can see them all here. We've got 50 million. 22 million in the bank. Right. We have a challenge. I'm not going to go and look for players right now, I don't think. I think next episode, which will be episode 2, we will start playing our games here. As I said, stuff like staff, stuff like training, that's not a priority for me really here. We need to solve the issues on the pitch. And solve the problems we are going to try and do. I mean, we have the highest average age in the league. It's not great, is it? It's not great. Our worst player, Jonathan Walters, in terms of passing, he might not be playing very often. You know what? I could delve into all these stats. I feel like we're trying a system that's brand new. Let's not worry about the past. Let's focus on the present and future. We've got a few winnable games, then Manchester City to start the 2019 year. That's going to be fun, isn't it? Right, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode. I'm going to wrap things up here. If you've got any suggestions for players who I could look at, do let me know them. I'd be curious to know, actually, Where do you think we'll finish? As I said, this series is going to be recorded a little bit ahead, so you can leave some transfer suggestions. Realistically, I can't act off them. But with the team, with the situation, will we avoid the drop? Where do you think we can finish? This is very uncharted territory for me, because normally when I first get promoted into the Premier League, when I play Football Manager, I've kind of had a chance to establish a footballing philosophy, and it's very rare that I join a team midway through the season and they're in the relegation zone. I feel like when you manage in the Championship and get promoted to the Premier League, whilst you might be up against it and might be relegation candidates, you have a squad that you've assembled yourself to an extent and you know how it best operates. I don't have a Scooby-Doo what we're going to do here. I've kind of made a 4-4-2, which in my head I think makes sense. Whether or not that's going to transpire and end up with results on the pitch, I guess time will tell. Guys, thank you for watching. As I said, do leave a like if you've enjoyed this video. If you're new to the channel as well, do subscribe. And feel free to also go and check out Leon Live. And well, with that all said and done, guys, I will see you again soon. Thank you for watching. It is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.